Hi, my name is Thomas Foster and this is another episode of a multi-part tutorial to Cubase 11 by Steinberg. In this video I will show you the channel strip that you can use to shape your sound to user EQ and compressor very fast and very easy. So enjoy! We create a new song by using the feature Create Empty. Now we choose a folder where Cubase places our samples, and here we are. For this tutorial I will use a loop that I will download at MUGENT.com. The name of this beat is Happy Weekend. And like all the samples on MUGENT, you can download it for free. Just here, let's listen. Yes, that's exactly what I want. With one click on free download, you have it in your download folder and you can use it in your production without any copyright problems, like all the other samples on MUGENT that are really great. And now let's move the beat from our desktop or from our download folder to a new track. So I place it here in this area where I have now the green line, and when I release the mouse I get this window where I can say yes, please copy this beat into my project folder, so I will find it also in 2 years when I open this project again. I will find it because it's part of my project. In this case, for this tutorial, we don't need this. And now we have here the beat. Let's change the tempo to the same tempo like our beat. Here in MUGENT you always see the BPM in the name of your audio file. In this case it's 123 beats per minute. So let's double click here the tempo and say yes, our song should be also 123 beats per minute. We create a loop by clicking here in this gray area on 1. And while holding down the mouse, we move it until the end of our loop, means until bar 9. This is exactly 8 bars. We start or activate the cycle with this button here. And now we can always hear this beat in a loop. To open the channel strip, we click on our track. Now you should see the inspector. If you don't see it, you maybe have to open here the left part of your window. And here you have this E, the Edit Channel Settings. Let's click on this and now we see the channel settings. In the channel settings, you see everything that is important for this channel. So you have here an EQ, you have here a compressor, a gate, and some other tools. Here is the volume of your track. Let's move it to -6 so we don't have any distortion. You have here the panning, left and right. Let's go back to the middle. And you can mute your channel so you don't hear it anymore. You can solo it so you don't hear the other channels. Now let's go here to our equalizer. You see the most important things of your equalizer, including a little graphic, very small here. But we can change from the channel strip tab to the equalizer tab. And now we see the equalizer in big. We have here 4 frequencies. The 2 in the middle are a parametric EQ. So some words to what is an equalizer. Human people can listen frequencies starting at 20 Hertz to 20,000 Hertz, means 20 kilohertz. The older you get, the less high frequencies you hear. So you hear maybe something here. I am happy if I hear 10 kilohertz. But something in the middle is, for example, 1 kilohertz. So let's activate our band 2. Now we have here the dot 2, this knob here. And we can push the level of our frequency or we can bring it down. Let's move it up. So this is more the middle range of our signal. Let's listen to it. Now we hear that we have more mid frequencies because we push them at 50 dBs, and we can move them up or down. So if we go down, we have more bass frequencies. If we go up, we have more high frequencies. Let's listen to this. And you also can bring it down. So we can do this here, or we can do this in the graphic. In the graphic is the good thing, you can do at the same time the frequency and the volume. So let's listen to this. Let's start by bringing down the bass frequencies. And you see, if I push, for example, 1 kilohertz, I also push some higher and lower frequencies. For example, at 2 kilohertz, what is 1 octave higher? Because always when you double your frequency, you are 1 octave higher. Also at 2 kilohertz, we are a little bit pushing some frequencies. Also at 5 kilohertz, a little bit, right? How much we also push the higher and lower frequencies, we can say here with the Q factor. So with the Q factor, I can make this very small or very bright. What makes a huge difference? Let's listen to this. So a typical thing, if you have a bad frequency that you don't like, is you search for this frequency. Let's make it a little bit smaller to make it more in detail. And then you bring it down. This was the second band of our EQ. It's a parametric EQ, and we have a second parametric EQ at 3. So we can choose another frequency, bring it up or down. To change the Q factor, you can do this here, like I showed you before. But you also can hold down the Shift key, and then you can do it here by moving the mouse left and right to make it smaller or brighter. So we have two frequencies with a parametric EQ where we can push or bring down some frequencies. But in addition, we also have number 4, where we can say, starting at 12 kilohertz, I want to push the high frequencies. Let's check this out. I go down now to 5 kilohertz, so you hear a little bit more what we are doing. And now let's go up or down. So that's basically the fastest way. If you say I want to have more high frequencies, you click here to start number 4, and then you bring it up with the shelf EQ. There's also a low shelf EQ here, so you can push or bring down your low frequencies. But you can change all the types of EQs. So we said number 1 is a low shelf EQ, but if you click here on the graphic of the shelf EQ, you can change it to another parametric EQ, high pass filter. So like in a club, you can filter out your frequencies, your low frequencies. And you can do the same here with the high frequencies. Let's change it to a low pass filter. Like in a typical club track, like a DJ EQ, I would say, you can do this. So you can change the type of your EQ to have much more possibilities. All right, that's the equalizer. Let's go back to the channel strip. The next important thing is maybe the compressor. Let's click here. We have 3 types of compressor. Let's start with the standard compressor. Again, you see here in small all the possibilities, but if you want to have more features and more graphic, you can click here this E where it says Edit Model, and now we have a big graphic for this EQ. For this compressor, I'm sorry. What does a compressor do? You choose a threshold, and everything on top of this threshold, you can bring down the dynamic by dividing it with 2, 3, 4 until 8. Everything's possible. Let's choose 4 to 1, means everything that is higher than the threshold will be compressed by our compressor. I go now up with the threshold, so it's doing nothing because nothing is higher than 0. And then I go slowly down while we are listening. And the more it's compressing the music, you will see here the gain reduction, and you will hear that the volume is coming down. If the gain reduction is too strong, it does not sound nice. So normally it's good if it looks, for example, like this. So it's reducing the gain 3 or 4 dBs on the loudest parts to bring down your dynamic a little bit. To close the compressor, let's click here where it says Close Model. Now we see again the whole channel strip. What else do we have? There is a noise gate. A noise gate, you can say, whenever the music is less than, for example, my threshold, in this case it's minus 20 dB, you close the gate. So now it's closed. This is basically if you have a recording that you did with a microphone where somebody's speaking, and always when he's not speaking, you want to close the noise gate so you don't have the atmosphere of the room. Therefore, a noise gate is good. We don't use this so often today, as today you do everything on your waveform and you cut out what you don't want. So I don't use a noise gate so often today. I use very often a de-esser on my vocals. With a de-esser, you can say wherever there are high frequencies, like in a S or F, I want to reduce the volume so you don't have so much S and other high frequencies. Saturation is very nice. You can make a little distortion on your sound to make it sounding a little bit more full. With magneto, you can make a small saturation. With tube saturation, you can really make a strong distortion. Let's check this out. This is magneto. Here with saturation, you can bring more saturation in this track. Works nice on drums, on vocals, yeah, basically on everything. Let's go to tape saturation. Now you really hear distortion, and with tube saturation it's even stronger. Okay. You can place a limiter here, so you can say whenever I have more volume than 0 dB, I want to take the limiter control of my signal with a gain reduction. So if I make the input louder and louder, normally the volume would go up here and we would have a distortion. But because there is a limiter, nothing goes on top of 0 dB. Let's listen to this. Yeah. This is basically very important on your master channel because you don't want to have any distortion if the music is louder than 0 dB. If you want to have more effects, you have here your inserts, because Cubase has a lot of audio plugins, and you can buy a lot of audio plugins as VST plugin. So for example, I could go here I could click on my first free insert channel and go to, let's say we take reverb, and here we take the Roomworks, and this is a reverb effect, a room. So you can have a lot of more effects, but we come to this in another tutorial. I click now here this button to bypass it, because you always can use the bypass feature also here in the channel strip. To bypass effect means it's not working anymore. For example, if I push here some frequencies on my equalizer, if I bypass it, it's doing nothing. To turn it on again, it's here. All right. You can change the order of your plugins. So you can save the gate at the end, or like here. Normally, this is a good order to start with the gate, then have the compressor, then the EQ, and so on and so on. But sometimes it's useful to change this, and you can do this here. Very important, sometimes you know you want to change something in your sound, but you don't know what, and you need some inspiration. Then it's easy to click here on the presets. And on the presets here is a little button that says Load Save Track Preset. Let's click on this. And now I choose Load Track Preset. And now I can choose a ton of presets to change the sound. So for example, I can say, yes, I want to change the sound of drums. So give me some presets for drums. And I want the preset snare drum punchy. Let's double click it. And immediately we see we loaded some plugins that we can open here by clicking on the E. And we have a special EQ on it, and it's changing the sound. And now you can walk through your presets to see which sound you like. Sometimes you want to save a preset. Let's say you're working on an album with a new artist and you're already done with your first track and you found the perfect channel setting for your voice. On the next track, you want to use exactly the same sound for your voice because it should work together. It should sound basically the same. Then you could go to your first project. Use the Save Track Preset feature to save everything you did on this channel. And on your next track, instead of starting from scratch, you simply go to Load Track Preset and load the preset you saved on the first track. My name is Thomas Foster, and this is here my YouTube channel, Thomas Foster Music Production, where all is about music production. Please write me in the comments if you like this tutorial and if this tutorial was helpful for you, or if you have any questions. I created a little playlist for you where you find all tutorials to Cubase 11. You find the link to this playlist in the description of this video or at the very end of this video. Thank you for watching. Always stay creative. Cheers. Oh, I still have one more thing. If you like producing music like me, then you probably know the problem of finding good drum and percussion sounds. Those who came with the music program do not sound right, and on all internet sites where you would get the really good stuff, you pay a fortune. On all? No, not really. There's a webpage in whose development I'm involved. MUGENT.com. MUGENT is written with M-U-G-E-N-T and it comes from musically intelligent. MUGENT. You can find drum beats that sounds exactly like what you hear in the charts or in the big clubs in Ibiza, Miami or Berlin. The web page reminds a little bit of Google. You can just use the text search, get immediately results, you can listen to and download for free, or you can use the menus with which you can narrow down the search. On MUGENT you can find drum sounds to every genre, music loops, so complete beats, percussion single sounds and loops, cool bass riffs, funky brass and synth riffs, guitars, and all sorts of sound effects, from birds to cars, from the sound of the sea to helicopters. With me, there is no more production where I didn't use the sounds from MUGENT.com. Take a look, you will love it. My name is Thomas Foster. Thanks for following. Always stay creative. Cheers.